So Spider-Man and his still current best pal, Green Goblin, face one of Peter's iconic villains, with Peter even getting 2 crazy new suits, and towards the end, even a revelation or discovery on furthering his power set. But for now, we pick up in September in New York, where we see a meeting between Uncle Ben, J. Jonah Jameson, and Mary Jane, because them together with Gwen Stacy, who was married to Harry Osborn in this universe, have started their own newspaper firm, simply called The Paper, and frankly right now they are suffering from success. As you see, the paper is, well, very successful, but it's only successful because they are publishing stories about Spider-Man. And that's not why they started this. No, they started to be a unbiased, unconcealed news firm. But the only thing they publish and is getting traction are their stories about a vigilante and not real injustices of the world. And while the 2 older men, Uncle Ben and J. Jonah, are pretty distraught and kind of upset about this, MJ has a different perspective, because as she thinks all publicity is good publicity, because she goes on to further explain the paper is one of the fastest online growing presence, and because of their coverage of Spider-Man, a new vigilante on the scene, which the Daily Bugle, run by Kingpin, doesn't want to publish, they have a massive new audience. And taking in their projections, in the next 6 months they are going to be bigger than the Daily Bugle itself. And why is this important? Because even though their end goal isn't just publishing whatever is popular or like Spider-Man or hero stuff, they are getting eyes on their work, which means now whatever they publish in the future, people will see. They have numbers now, and these numbers and large influence now means that other people and other sinister corporations cannot cast them out. They can soon write whatever they want and people will see it. Which of course, with Mary Jane being a marketing genius in this universe, this is all going according to her plan. But now as we switch over and see what's going on at Oscorp, we see Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and this universe's Green Goblin, Harry Osborn, pay a visit to Dr. Octavius, who is working with and for Osborn as their tech developer and researcher, because they've been having problems with their suits. Not bad problems per se, but with Iron Man coming back, they realize that both of their suits are not only Stark made, but Stark can have access to them, which is even more pressing for Harry Osborn because he likes his privacy and has stuff to hide. So his first order of business to Otto was to create a fix, and in Harry's case, the solution or fix, which Otto likes to call it freedom from Stark, is pretty simple, because in Harry's case, all he needs is a frequency that can override Stark's that's in the technology, disrupting any type of control or backdoor entry that Stark or anybody with his tech can use. But you see, the Green Goblin suit that he has was a repurposed Iron Man suit, meaning yeah, while the Iron Man suits are still obviously technologically advanced, they are nowhere near top dog anymore. As Tony explained in the last issue of Spider-Man, the top new technology is picotech, which is what Peter's suit is made out of. So yeah, while the Spider-Man suit may not look bulky or technologically advanced, it is basically a nanotech suit that can shift and change to the very will, even camouflaging, giving him infinite webs, among other things. And of course, with Otto not being as intelligently smart as Tony, he isn't able to get around this hyper advanced enigma of Peter's suit. Therefore, his solution is pretty simple. He's going to give Peter an entirely new suit. But this option for Peter does come with a little downsides. And because of this, Peter starts to talk to himself. No, not literally, but as you see in their new suits, just how Iron Man has Jarvis, Peter has his own AI, but this time his AI is replicated in the form of himself. So think of your own subconscious mind. Except with it just being your own thoughts, it is an entirely different entity molded after yourself, essentially a Peter 2. So he decides to consult this second Peter, AI Peter, in his head. And I mean, from the outside looking in, he looks absolutely crazy, because it looks like he's just talking to himself because nobody else can hear the voice except him in his suit. But as he goes to ask his AI Peter what should they even do, should they accept this new suit and give up this one, the Picotech Stark suit, AI Peter says he's a little worried. Because even AI Peter is getting eerie vibes from Otto Octavius. He doesn't want to be left in the hands of this good doctor to be torn apart and researched in whatever he has planned for it. With AI Peter even going on to say, don't you dare leave me with him. So they start to think of another solution. Instead, maybe thinking that he can leave the suit at home as some sort of self-home defense system. And yeah, even though AI Peter is, well, artificial intelligence, it is a little more than that. You see, it has a certain level of consciousness itself, almost scary in the fact that way. But with the two Peters coming to the same conclusion and agreeing on it, they decide that the real human Peter is going to keep the suit and accept a new suit from Otto, not giving the Picotech suit over to Otto to experiment and do whatever he does. So Peter then goes on to say the only thing left is seeing this new suit, right? Further say, I want you to know regardless of whatever is underneath that tarp, I'm going to hate it and I'm going to miss you, which I mean just lays an interesting dynamic between real Peter and AI Peter, which a lot of people are theorizing that this suit, AI, may become this universe's version of Venom in the future. And what this new suit is may shock you, as it is this universe's first Iron Spider suit, just named Spider Armor Mark 1. Being built by, of course, Otto Octavius in this case. And I might be alone in this, but as a Spider-Man fan, me personally, while I do appreciate his more classic spandex and cloth suit, I've always been a sucker for more technologically advance Peter. Not to the extent of maybe an Iron Man suit like this here, but still Peter with a little more technology, really showing off his intelligence. Point in case, if you remember his all new and all different suit when he had Parker Industries, that suit, while still being reminiscent of his classic design and suit, was still pretty technologically savvy, with a lot of extra gizmos and web shooters and different things he could use, but still being the same Spider-Man and not Iron Spider that people don't like. And of course, nowadays with so many Spider people roaming around, we have Miles, we have Spider-Gwen, Ben Reilly and his other clones. We have Miguel in even some stories. It really differentiates him from his more basic or more standard power set. But that's just me. Do you agree or disagree? Hey, let me know down below. But as this new Spider Armor Mark 1 is presented, Otto then goes on to explain all the differences. And believe me, there is a lot. First of all, what is lacking is the camouflage of his Picotech suit because he wasn't able to figure that out. But what he did was optimize his web shooters. Because now instead of running off whatever the Picotech suit created, which seemingly was infinite, his web shooters now run off his iconic cartridge system. But even though the supply is now limited, it can hold an additional 5 tons of weight, which is useful. It also has rocket launchers, concussive bombs, stun webs, and even cutting lasers. In addition to that, the suit is also very, very durable. It is bulletproof, EMP proof, explosion proof, made from a heavy-duty titanium-based alloy. And you would think Peter seeing all these upgrades, taking him from just amazing to ultimate with his new suit and his new capabilities, he then takes a second to think. And it's not clear if he is thinking to himself or if the AI version of Peter is talking and saying something to him, but he then changes his mind and says, I think I'm good, saying no, I don't want the suit. Without even going to further explain and detail his answer, Harry then steps in to try to ease the situation, with him going on to say, I think what he's trying to say, Otto, is thank you, but perhaps it is a little too much for him. Spider-Man is lithe, agile. This big bulky suit doesn't match what he is pitting down. So of course, Otto, being the brilliant mind he is, takes a second to think about this. Yes, it is possible I have overgeneralized the suit and maybe a tad overdesigned it, so there's a far simpler solution. And Spider-Man, not even seeing what the solution was, just says, cool, whatever it is, I'll just take it. And whatever this simpler solution was, we'll have to wait as we move back over to the paper, the actual building where we see J. Jonah and Uncle Ben talking. As you see, they have gotten their hands on a little bit of classified information, if you will. They have found a new target, a new story, a new sample to try and dig into and get answers to deliver to the public. As I read through a couple files, that has taken Robbie, who works at the Daily Bugle, months and months of prep and no amount of small work, going from financials to internal memos, some legal paperwork, and everything in between. But the main question is, once they start digging, what are they going to find? And as you see, they are talking about the Stain and Stark Company. And of course, going down this rabbit hole is the exact thing that got Harry Osborn mixed up with Kingpin and his entire entourage. Meaning, if J. Jonah and Uncle Ben aren't careful, they will become targets in the crossfires of the Kingpin and ultimately the Maker once he returns. Later on in that same evening, we see Spider-Man and Green Goblin just sitting on a rooftop, talking, specifically about their suits and Spider-Man's new one. As you see, with the simpler solution that Otto had in mind, is instead of giving him this grand Iron Spider suit, he instead opted for something way simpler. Just a nice clean-cut spandex suit, which looks the same as his Picotech suit, but of course, is spandex and cloth. Well, it's a Kevlar composite, meaning it's more durable than just straight cloth, but it's still the same classic design. And of course, without the Pico suit, he has no web, so he has his iconic cartridges system. And as they are on the rooftop, becoming better and better friends, they start to talk and plan about their future. As you see, canonically, it is September, so December is coming up, and every Christmas, both of these family men have different family outings that they invite each other to. Harry and his wife, Gwen Stacy, go out on vacation, with Peter and his family, his kids and wife, Mary Jane, do a big Christmas at their home. But while they're talking and making plans, suddenly Spider-Man gets a little headache, and as you know, that is his famous spider sense, who previously, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't been shown in this series yet, at least in an outward way, where it is literally shown and brought up here, because Harry has no idea of what this even is, but Spider-Man going on to briefly explain, ever since he got his powers, sometimes he gets a feeling like something bad is about to happen, premonition of some sort, his spider sense. But suddenly his spider sense goes off again, as a beam is shot towards them, Spider-Man narrowly dodging because of his sixth sense. The beam instead hits Harry Osborn, which I mean, this little interaction is interesting because it's almost like he had a pre-spider sense, a mini spider sense before his main spider sense kicked in, and he narrowly dodged the attack. But as we see, Harry isn't as lucky, and the attack disables his suit, meaning he is a man inside of a giant metal shell, just stuck, can't move. And the culprit is revealed to be a man in a almost ninja-like attire, or escape artist, as we see him come in a rope in an all-black sleek suit. And with this now being turned from a 2v1 to a 1v1, Spider-Man confronts this mysterious man, saying, you know it's not polite to start a fight without introducing yourself. Here, I will go first. I'm Spider-Man, and you are. This man goes on to say, well, he is a shadow in the night, a whisper of a dream. His friends call him the Velvet Blade, but his enemies call him the Black Cat. as he uses his rope or whip that he came down on, using it to slash Spider-Man across the chest, in which times like these is what he really wished he had the durability of the spider armor. But of course, with it still being just Kevlar spandex, he gets cut all the same. So these two start their battle, with this version of the Black Cat, who most people normally know as Felicia Hardy, but instead is this man known as Walter Hardy, the father of Felicia Hardy, the original Black Cat. He starts his 1v1 battle with Spider-Man, with Peter, with him using his long-range whip to try and whip him from afar, with Spider-Man playing to his strengths, his speed and agility, dodging and whipping past every attack. And while they're in the midst of a battle, Spider-Man then asks him, "Why even attack my friend? Why are you here?" With this Black Cat going on to say, "Well, I wasn't actually aiming for him. I was aiming for you." But I suppose the moral of the story is, men like me, we cannot miss. As he fires another attack with his whip, missing Spider-Man, but it turns out he wasn't his target, as he hit the edge and the structure of an entire water tower, having it crash down and fall on Spider-Man. Which, if you remember from previous issues, is kind of a, I guess, second running gag here, with Spider-Man doing the same thing to Bullseye, claiming that he missed, when instead he was aiming for the thing behind him in a giant crane falling on top of him. And here we see the exact same scenario play out, but instead it's a water tower. I wonder if this will become a running gag, if you will, throughout this series. But who knows? It's just interesting that it happened twice. And as Spider-Man lays gathering his bearings from the crash, the Black Cat takes his time to put Spider-Man in a weird chokehold, using his whip, with him going on to explain why he is here. Because the Kingpin of New York has called together all of its captains to play the great game, with Spider-Man and the Goblin being both prey and prize. And why are they being hunted? Well, because they made the mistake of catching their attention, that they dare lay siege to Olympus. They have angered the gods, and for their sins, the heroes' lives are forfeit. And it seems this was Spider-Man's plan, how he was almost playing possum, playing defeated, for a chance for the Black Cat to explain and spill his secrets. And with him deeming enough information is shared, he grabs his hands and tosses the Black Cat, instantly webbing him using his all-new web cartridges, which are much stronger than his previous webs, to the surface, ending the fight as the Black Cat is now bound. But here we see an interesting interaction going on. As you see in this Ultimate Universe, there weren't really any heroes to speak of, just civilians, bad men, and even worse villains. So with the Black Cat having previously never been caught, never been foiled, he has only ran into villains, meaning if he was caught, whatever villain did it would surely kill him or imprison him. So he thinks Spider-Man is going to do the same thing, execute him on the spot, with him even going on to say, "I suppose living is for the young, and I am but an old man. This day has been coming for some time now. Go ahead, just get it over with." And of course with Peter being confused, saying, "What? The Black Cat says you're going to kill me now, aren't you?" But of course we know that Spider-Man, having a no-kill rule, almost near the same level as Batman, this plan of killing him wasn't even in his cards. So he then goes over back to Harry Osborn to see what he can do to help get his friend back on his feet. And of course, Spider-Man plays a dangerous game, turning his back to the enemy, as the Black Cat's hand placement where he was webbed was behind his back, as he activates one of his weapons, cutting through the webs, looking like he is about to sneak attack Spider-Man with whatever weapon he is holding. And keep in mind here, Spider-Man's spider sense doesn't go off, meaning either two things. One, it was going to go off and it just hasn't yet, or two, the Black Cat wasn't planning to attack Spider-Man here. But whatever scenario would have played out doesn't get to, as the Green Goblin suit is able to reboot from the EMP just in time for him to see the Black Cat behind Spider-Man and blast him off of the roof as he crashes down to the streets of New York below. And of course with this Black Cat being a normal man, his body is bloodied and battered, broken, dying, but not dead yet, as Spider-Man says he is still moving as they call for an ambulance. In a duel, after witnessing the paramedics come and scoop his body up, Spider-Man then gets a little aggressive and mad at Harry, telling him what is wrong with him, what is he doing? And Harry being confused because he thought he just saved Spider-Man's life, saying he did what he had to do. You had your back turned and he pulled out a weapon. But Peter says he didn't feel anything. He didn't feel his spider sense go off, meaning maybe the Black Cat wasn't actually going to attack him, and this could have been resolved without Harry going for a kill shot. And here we see this friendship have a little bit of conflicting ideas, because in Harry's perspective, these people are beyond saving, beyond redeeming. Fisk and his entourage of other villains have not only controlled New York with an iron fist, but even had his parents killed. So while Harry is no hard, cold-blooded killer, he won't shy away from the reality of life, and sometimes people, bad people especially, have to die. But Peter doesn't see it this way. Peter, being the optimistic, says we can't be like them. We are supposed to be heroes. We are supposed to be better than that. We have to be. But Harry Osborn, being the ever stubborn and realist, says, "You need to know something, Peter. If I'm put to the choice and one of them is about to kill you, I will never hesitate to kill them first." Which just goes to show you this rift between them might not be anything crazy now, but this conflicting of ideals could lead to some very dark roads later on. But we see Peter then make light of the situation, saying, well, just so you know, you're still invited to Christmas. As even though they have their differences and conflicting ideas and thoughts about what they should do, they for now are still friends and partners. as we see them walk together off of the roof to further plan and their taking down of Kingpin in his entire force. But for now, that is the end of this issue and the end of this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, or subscribe if you're new and like this type of content. As always, this is the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.